Authentication, it's a super important part of pretty much any MERN stack project, right? But if you're just starting out, the whole flow from the login screen to a protected page can feel like a total black box. So today, we're going to pry that box open and show you exactly how it works step by step. Let's get into it. I mean, really think about it for a second. You hit login, and boom, suddenly you can see your private profile, your dashboard, all your settings. But here's the thing. The web is stateless. It doesn't have a memory. So how does it keep track of you from one page to the next? That's the big question we're going to answer today by following the entire journey of a single login request. Okay, so to get started, we first need to really define the problem we're trying to solve here. And of course, we need to meet the key players who make it all happen. At its heart, authentication is actually pretty simple. It's just about verifying a user's identity. When someone types in an email and password, the system's only job is to ask one question. Are these details correct? Is this person really who they claim to be? That's it. And in our MERN stock, we've got a team of 4 technologies all working together. You've got React, which handles the front-end login form the user sees. Then we have Node.js and Express, which make up our back-end server that does all the heavy lifting. MongoDB is our database, where we securely store all that user info. And finally, the real star of the show, the JSON Web Token, or JWT. This thing acts like a secure key for the user's session. All right, now for the fun part. Let's trace the complete step-by-step journey of a login request. We're going to follow it from the moment you click that submit button, all the way to the server, and then all the way back again. So here's the 30,000-foot view of the whole process. It starts with the user sending your details. The backend checks them, creates a special token, and sends it back. The browser then holds onto this token and uses it to access protected pages, where the backend checks it on every single request. Now let's break this down piece by piece. So our journey kicks off in the browser. The user fills out that login form in our React app. When they hit submit, React bundles up the email and password and shoots it over to our backend server using what's called a POST request. You can see a perfect example of this with Axios right here. The request now lands on our Express server. First things first, it looks up the user by their email in our MongoDB database. If it finds a user, it then uses a tool like bcrypt to compare the password they just sent with the super secure hashed password we have stored. And this is so important for security. We never ever store passwords as plain text. If the passwords match, success! We know the user is legit. So now, the backend's job is to generate a special key for them, that JSON Web Token we talked about. Using a function like jwt.sign here, it creates a secure, digitally signed token that contains the user's unique ID, and it's all protected by a secret key that only our server knows about. The server then sends this brand new token back to the user's browser in response to that login request. The React app catches the token and needs to store it somewhere so it can use it later. A really common place for this is local storage, although, for more sensitive apps, an HTTP-only cookie is definitely a more secure way to go. So now the user is logged in. Whenever they try to visit a protected page, like their profile, our React app grabs that token from storage. It then sticks it inside the request authorization header, usually with the word bearer in front of it. It's basically telling the server, hey, I've got a key, here you go, let me in. And finally, every single request that goes to a protected route on our backend first has to pass through a little gatekeeper, a piece of code we call middleware. This middleware's only job is to look for that token in the header. It uses that same secret key from before to verify the token signature. If it's valid, the server knows exactly who the user is, it grants them access, and the journey is complete. The user is officially authenticated. Okay, so now that we get how this server verifies a user's identity, we need to clear up something that trips up a lot of people: the difference between authentication and authorization. This slide really breaks it down perfectly. Authentication answers the question, who are you? It's all about proving your identity. Authorization, on the other hand, answers the question, what are you allowed to do? It's about permissions. Just think of it like this. Authentication is getting the key to the building, and authorization determines which rooms inside that building your key can actually open. And here's a super clear example to make it stick. The actual process of logging in with your username and password, that's authentication. But once you're in, trying to get to a special admin-only page, well, that requires authorization. The system has to check if your user role, like admin, actually allows you to go there. Look, understanding the flow is one thing, but making sure it's secure is everything. So let's quickly run through some absolute must-do best practices to keep your app and your users safe. Think of this as your security checklist. Number 1,
always hash passwords. Number 2, for sensitive apps, use HTTP-only cookies so client-side scripts can't steal your tokens. 3, always give your tokens an expiration date. 4, validate all user input on the server, not just on the front end. 5, make sure all your sensitive routes are protected by that verification middleware. And finally, I'm going to say it again, never, ever, ever store passwords in plain text.
And that right there is the main takeaway. In modern web dev, the JSON Web Token is the key that unlocks user sessions. It's this compact, secure little credential that the client shows on every single request to prove who it is. And that allows our server to stay both stateless and secure. So we've gone deep on authentication, the art of verifying identity. But this leads us right to the next big question. Now that you can prove who a user is, how do you control what they are and are not allowed to actually do? Well, that, my friends, is the whole world of authorization.